Can we go back to Purdy for a second? Because I have a Purdy take.
Oh,
if Purdy played on the East Coast and Purdy was 6'5" or 6'4", he would be the headline of the league. He would be, is this Tom Brady 2.0? Is this the next diamond in the rough, elite quarterback who wasn't drafted in the first round? And it seems like a lot of the punditry, not all of it, but a lot of the punditry is like, Brock Purdy's just kind of the point guard, just kind of running Shanahan's offense and not really doing anything special. And I'm not trying to be the guy who's like, give the quarterback of the team I follow respect. I'm not trying to do that. But I think the more people, my prediction would be the more people watch Brock Purdy, the more impressed they're going to be. Because that's what it's been for me, right? The more he does things like he did on Sunday in Pittsburgh, it's like, oh, he's not just us, running Kyle Shanahan's offense well. He's making plays outside of structure. He's avoiding pressure within the pocket and keeping his eyes downfield. He's finding open receivers and even throwing them open before they are open.
Yeah.
Right. He's doing advanced quarterback type things. He's playing real life adult NFL quarterback and doing it at a pretty high level. And all the numbers indicate that.
Yeah.
But I think nationally, a lot of people are just slow to pick up on it because they just assume, oh, he's Kyle Shanahan's quarterback. He can run it well. He's probably something like Kirk Cousins. And maybe he is. But I think saying that right now discounts how well he's actually playing and how he's doing things. He's doing things that are high level, not just he's just running Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's making plays outside of structure.
Yeah.
And he's running away from defenders. A lot of people are like, oh, he's small. It's he can actually move pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think as time goes on, if Purdy keeps playing at this level, he's going to catch on as no, he's actually a plus quarterback. And I think that leads into what we're going to talk about with what Micah Parsons had to say this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely want to get to that, but I think it's already happening a little bit, but there's still, I think, like you said, a perception of people who don't watch necessarily. And that's fine because when you cover the NFL nationally, it's really hard to intently watch all the games.
Yeah.
And so with the 49ers, you just go, okay, Brock Purdy is just whatever. It's point and shoot. That's what I've heard. It's a point and shoot offense, which what offense isn't, but that's a separate thing. But there's, you just talked about all the out of structure stuff he's doing. It's the way he maneuvers in the pocket and creates throwing lanes for himself. There was a play against Pittsburgh where he started to throw it not a pump fake, but he started to throw it. And then as TJ Watt fell back into that throwing lane, anticipating the throw, Purdy pulled the ball down, reset himself, and hit Christian McCaffrey in the middle of the field. That's not Kyle Shanahan. That's a quarterback recognizing that the throw was going to get intercepted. It's the exact kind of play Jimmy Garoppolo hits the top of his drop and just lets it rip. And he hits TJ Watt in the chest. And it's what happens on that? How does that happen? And it's because he's doing the point and shoot offense. Brock Purdy is doing that at a little bit different level. And at some point, something's got to give because you can talk about EPA, you can talk about all these peripheral stats that say, Nick Mullins was good in this offense and Jimmy Garoppolo was good in this offense. And first of all, Nick Mullins threw for a lot of yards. He was not that good in this offense, but that's a separate thing. And the fact of the matter is the Niners have never put up points on offense like this. They've scored 30 since week 13 of last year. It was 6 games Purdy played in this one, and they've scored 30 in 5 of them.
First quarterback in a long time to have
6 out of 7.
Yeah, first quarterback in a long time to have multiple touchdown passes in his first 6 regular season starts.
Ever. Yeah.
So
first quarterback ever only one. First quarterback ever to have a quarterback rating of 95 or better in his first 6 starts.
And that's not to say he's not in a phenomenal situation, right? With the skill players around him and Kyle Shanahan pulling the strings and all that. But we're going to get to a point where the conversation around Brock Purdy is going to turn a corner where, no, he's not just this dude operating Kyle Shanahan's offense and just being a robot. Mm-hmm. He's actually playing quarterback at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I'm not saying that to shill for Brock Purdy because I've been I've gone into this season being there's a real good chance he regresses because most quarterbacks do.
Yep.
right? But like to come back and play as poised as he did and look as calm as he did and just have that type of command of the offense without any offseason, coming off elbow surgery and playing
Mm-hmm.
confidently, and even having his arm hit, or at least like passes hit as he throws it a couple different times in that game, and him to seem relatively unfazed by it. I mean, it's all impressive stuff at this point, and I'm not trying to anoint him as like some Pro Bowler or Tom Brady or
Sure.
whatever. I just think a lot of people are still tied to the fact that, like, oh, he was the last pick in the draft, he almost went undrafted, he must not be that good. And it's like, man, I think we got to get to a point where we stop thinking about where he was drafted and just look at the way he was playing football. And I think you could objectively say, just watching him closely and watching the way he's playing football, he doesn't look anything like a seventh round pick. Just
No.
like aside from his height, aside from his arm strength, just watch him play football and know what you know about what good quarterback play is and isn't. And he's playing quarterback at a really high level. And a lot of teams would draft a guy playing at that level in the first round.
Do you think if the 49ers called the Steelers right now and said, we'll trade you Kenny Pickett for Brock Purdy straight across, would the Steelers do it?
Yeah, I think so.
I do too. And they were in the same draft class. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback taken. So I'm with you. I'm still, can Brock Purdy with a minute and a half left, down 4 in a playoff game, lead them down the field to a touchdown? TBD.
Yeah.
But
no, that's the question. I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah. Like I always go back. I've said this a million times, I feel like. But the 2021 NFC title game, the Rams tied that game at 20 and then took the lead 23-20. And Jimmy Garoppolo had the ball twice with an opportunity to put that game away. And they went backwards. And that's this scenario where, okay, at some point that's going to come up. At some point, your quarterback is just going to need to be a quarterback and go 4 wide and make some throws. Can he do that? And that's, again, TBD. I'm not writing him off and saying he's not good because of that, but that's kind of that's the last question I have. I have no further questions on Brock Purdy. He completed 80%. Well, that I mean, yeah, but I would say that for anybody.
Yeah.
He completed 80% of his throws into the intermediate area of the field last year, which is an insane number. Deshaun Watson, 68%, led the league among qualifiers. The difference between Purdy and Watson was the same as the difference between Watson at number 2 and then the 30th ranked quarterback in that stat.
Yeah.
So it's a huge gap. And I thought that's an area he would regress, and maybe he does over the course of this year, but in week 1, he was 9 for 10 in the intermediate area. He improved his completion rate. That's the kind of thing that to me is like, man, if he's not just a check down artist. He's getting it down the field. His ADOT was like 8.5. His average depth of target was, I think, the 9th highest in the league in week 1. This isn't dink and dunk. He's pushing the ball down the field. The throw to Brandon Ayuk on the front pile and the back shoulder throw was sick. He's doing high level stuff. So I think he's for